We start this morning with some really incredible new video out of southern Ukraine. It shows the aftermath of a purported Ukrainian attack on the Russian-occupied city of Melitopol. This is one of several explosions overnight felt in southern Ukraine and on the Crimean Peninsula. Russian state media is also reporting missile strikes in eastern Ukraine and the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic.
Now, the attacks come hours after a barrage of Russian drone strikes across Ukraine. And President Volodymyr Zelensky says 5 Iranian-made drones hit key power facilities around Odessa Saturday, knocking out power to more than 1.5 million people. CNN's Sam Kiley is live for us now from Kyiv. Sam, give us an update on what all these new developments mean.
Well, first of all, the Odessa strikes. I think the significance there is that these were made, according to the Ukrainian government, by the Iranian-supplied Shahed drones. These are Iranian missiles that are pretty primitive, cheap to make, but there had been an assumption from the Ukrainians that they were running low on or had run out of entirely these Iranian-made drones. Now, they fired some 15, 5 got through. They've crippled temporarily the power supply to Odessa, a city of over 1 million people that has largely been spared a lot of these attacks on the energy infrastructure here in Ukraine. Elsewhere in the country, the power system is coming back to life. It's down to about 75% of capacity. It'll take a long time to fix it in its entirety. But it is a sign, though, unfortunately, from the Ukrainian perspective, that the suggestion that the Russians were running out of these missiles is no longer the case. Amra Boris?
And Sam, we've also seen very intense fighting recently in the town of Bakhmut. What's the strategic significance of those clashes?
As far as the Ukrainians are concerned, they're baffled as to why the Russians are throwing so much into the fight for Bakhmut. It doesn't, from the Ukrainian perspective, represent particularly important strategic asset as a target for the Ukrainians. But if you look at what else is going on elsewhere in the country with the potential, I don't think it's yet a counteroffensive in places like Melitopol on the southern front, it does absorb a lot of Ukrainian military energy. The casualties on both sides are very high around Bakhmut, and arguably that is an attempt by the Russians to make sure that the Ukrainians can't open up a counteroffensive elsewhere, particularly in the south, which is a very long front line, and of course it is the route to the prize, really, one of the main prizes for Ukraine, which would be ultimately to recapture the Crimean Peninsula, which has been illegally annexed by Russia. Of course, we've also seen attacks in the east of the country with these longer range missile strikes, potentially signaling that the Ukrainians may have developed some technology that they're not yet acknowledging, but technology that is getting through Russian air defenses in the Crimean Peninsula, in the east of the country, and lately in Melitopol. Boris?